There's nothing more American than PBS. It's a safe place where kids learn and grow, and where grown-ups are informed, entertained, and inspired. PBS is one of America's greatest resources for 50 years strong, and PBS needs your help to keep going for another 50.
We will have done a great service
for our future. Visit Protect My Public Media to learn more, because there's nothing more American than PBS.
The day's other headlines begin with a separate storm flooding parts of North Carolina. What's left of Tropical Depression Chantal dumped up to 8 inches of rain in the center of the state this weekend. One woman is dead, dozens of people have had to evacuate their homes, and more than 60 remain displaced. Chapel Hill's fire department and other first responders conducted more than 130 water rescues. The remnants of Chantal will move on by tomorrow after dumping heavy rain over parts of the Mid-Atlantic and New Jersey. In McAllen, Texas, near the U.S.-Mexico border, a heavily armed man was killed today after he opened fire at a Border Patrol facility. Federal agents returned fire after the gunman, Ryan Luis Mosqueda, shot dozens of rounds at the building's entrance. He was carrying an assault-style rifle and a utility vest. Officers later found other weapons and ammunition inside Mosqueda's car. The car had Cordis Die written on its door, which translates loosely from Latin to the Day of the Heart. DHS said 2 officers and a Border Patrol employee sustained injuries. A motive hasn't yet been determined. President Trump said he'll place higher tariffs on a number of countries starting on August 1st. He did so by posting letters to the country's leaders on his social media platform, warning them not to retaliate. Among them, 25% tariffs on Japan and South Korea, 40% on Myanmar and Laos, and a 30% duty on South Africa. Wednesday marks the end of a 90-day negotiating period set by the Trump administration to reach trade deals with foreign partners. Trump's team had promised 90 deals in 90 days, but only 2 trade frameworks have been reached so far. Turning overseas, Russia unleashed a barrage of more than 100 drones across Ukraine overnight. Ukrainian officials said these strikes and others in the last 24 hours killed at least 11 people and injured more than 80 across the country. That includes Ukraine's second largest city of Kharkiv, where residents described having just moments to find shelter.
We grabbed a child and went to the corridor to hide because there was a very scary sound. The house was just shaking, and at that moment we saw the fire in the window, and our balcony window was blown out.
Moscow has recently stepped up its attacks against civilians. Ukrainian leaders say Russia has fired more than 2,000 drones, missiles, and glide bombs, injuring scores of people and population centers in the past week. Houthi rebels in Yemen say that a bulk carrier they attacked on Sunday has sunk in the Red Sea. They claim the company that owns the ship did port calls in Israel. The Liberian-flagged vessel, called the Magic Seas, was headed north toward Egypt's Suez Canal. It caught fire and took on water during the Houthis' attack, forcing its 22 crew members to abandon ship. Israel and the Iran-backed Houthis have since been trading fire. Israel sent fighter jets to hit several ports and a power plant in Yemen overnight. In the meantime, in Israel, air defense systems intercepted Houthi missiles. In Kenya, the capital city of Nairobi is on lockdown as police say that violent anti-government protests have led to at least 11 deaths. Pro-democracy demonstrators lit bonfires and hurled rocks at police, who fired back with tear gas. Many Kenyans have been protesting issues like police brutality and government corruption for weeks. A number of them have demanded that their president, William Ruto, resign. Today is known as Saba Saba in Swahili. It's the anniversary of major protests 35 years ago that helped pave the way for multi-party democracy in Kenya. A volcanic eruption in southeastern Indonesia spewed a towering column of fire and ash that threatened aviation and kept officials on high alert. The plume from Mount Lewatobi Laki-Laki stretched 11 miles into the sky. Its initial eruption was one of Indonesia's largest since 2010. Soot blanketed several villages below and blotted out the sun for almost half an hour, geologists said. There were no reported casualties, but by this afternoon, dozens of flights to and from Indonesia's resort island of Bali were canceled. Back in the U.S., trash is piling up on the streets of Philadelphia as a major workers' strike entered its 7th day following a weekend of talks that ended without a deal. Among the nearly 10,000 workers that have walked off the job from the city's largest municipal workers union, trash collectors, along with other essential services like 911 dispatchers. The workers are calling for better wages and benefits. Negotiations are expected to pick back up tomorrow. And stocks fell on Wall Street today as President Trump put new pressures on trading partners with his latest tariffs. The Dow Jones Industrial Average lost more than 400 points as both it and the Nasdaq fell by close to 1%. The S&P 500 also backed off by 0.8%. Still to come on the News Hour, Tamara Keith and Amy Walter break down the latest political headlines. Reporters Isaac Arnsdorf and Tyler Pager discuss their new book on the momentous 2024 election. And an artist exiled from Cuba spent decades transforming nature into works of art.
This is the PBS NewsHour from the David M. Rubenstein Studio at WETA in Washington, and in the West from the Walter Cronkite School of Journalism at Arizona State University.